afternoon. It's a beautiful day outside and inside today. If you weren't in nursing, you probably don't know me. However, for the nursing grads, as was just pointed out 20 months ago, I decided to go through the nursing program with them. And we were all quite scared on orientation day, and now here you are on graduation day. Unfortunately, not finishing with you, I took last summer off, finishing up now. I always thought I'd attend and be in the audience to watch you. I was honored when Wendy and Linda asked me to speak today. For the nursing assistant, medical assistant grads, pardon me, as some of my comments today are focused on the nurses. 94% of the graduates here today are nurses or nursing graduates. I'm going to talk about three topics. One, feeling, two, perspective, and three, giving. First, feeling. In my experience, when you complete hard things in life, you later don't remember how hard it was. And as with most challenging and transformational experiences, what you do remember, though, is it was hard, you're proud you did it, but primarily you remember the people. For this cohort, you're going to remember everyone else in your cohort. You're going to remember everyone who's gone to Ameritech. You're going to have a bond with them, and you're going to have a bond with anyone in your profession. Second, perspective. Individually, you all went through different journeys to be here today. Some of you had more difficult personal trials during that path that made it even tougher. I want to share one nurse's story that gives him a different perspective. I met Hussein Salih because he was my mentor nurse last semester in semester 4 when I was doing a couple of clinical shifts at the University of Utah, the Huntsman Cancer Center. Now, Hussein didn't graduate from Ameritech, but he now works part-time on our clinical team. Many years ago, one day, Hussein decided that he was going to walk 7 hours from Eritrea to Sudan. If he would have been caught, he would have been shot. Then to get from Sudan to Ethiopia, he paid the equivalent of $200 to an onion truck driver, and he hid in the onions. He lived in an Ethiopian refugee camp for 7 years, waiting for a Western country to accept him as an immigrant. Unfortunately, he was unable to speak to his family during those 7 years. The family he's very close to, his parents and siblings, because there was no Wi-Fi or Skype. As an aside, I know that no Wi-Fi is probably the most terrifying part of that story for some of you. A prehistoric time known as pre-Wi-Fi. After 7 years, a U.S. representative came to Hussein and said to him, "You're going to the United States." He'd get on a plane, and that plane was going to take him to a place called Salt Lake City. And he would receive 3 months of free rent, and after that, he'd have to pay for life like the rest of us do. After his arrival in Salt Lake City in 2012, Hussein got a job as a dishwasher in the Cheesecake Factory downtown. In Eritrea, Hussein had been studying to be a nurse, but he hadn't finished, and he found out that his education there would not be accepted in the schools here. So he took an accelerated nursing assistant course to be a certified nursing assistant. As a new CNA, he then applied to the University of Utah's hospital, specifically the Huntsman Cancer Center. He was turned down because it was deemed that his English was not good enough. He didn't give up hope, though, and so instead, he applied and got a job as the janitor at the Huntsman Cancer Center. Everyone got to know Hussein. He was a good janitor. And nursing assistant positions opened up once again. The employees at Huntsman who now knew him encouraged him to apply again. And this time, he was hired. While working 4 years as a CNA, Hussein studied to be a nurse. He became an RN in December 2016. Around this time, back in Eritrea, Hussein's 3 younger brothers were put in prison solely for attending the funeral of a 94-year-old man who was a critic of the government there. He'd been sending a large part of his paycheck to his family, and he was now the sole provider for his parents now. Here's a part of the story that I'd like to highlight for all the nurses, nursing grads, and medical assistants. I noticed the following when I was a nursing student working with Hussein. He looked for work. He sought opportunities to help other people. When the charge nurse alerted the floor that a new patient was to be admitted, I witnessed firsthand when Hussein never said he was too busy. Instead, he volunteered to take that new admitted patient. Before the patient even arrived, Hussein would review the online chart and refresh himself on the patient's diagnosis and pathology. He'd review the medications and refresh on the side effects. He'd review the doctor's orders, visit the doctor, resident, pharmacist, and ask about their plans for the patient. He'd learn the family members' names and their relationships to the patient. Hussein saw himself as part of a team, and he wanted to be an excellent contributory member to that team. He wanted to make a difference for that patient who was facing life or death. All the while, he didn't know that I was majority owner of Ameritech College. He just respected me as a student and took the time to train me with pride. I thought to myself, this is a great nurse. To finish his story, after 1 year of becoming an RN, Hussein was promoted to be the charge nurse of the entire unit. For those of you who don't know, a charge nurse is the head nurse for a 12-hour shift in charge of all the nurses and nursing assistants in that unit. Hussein's been a nurse there now for 3 years and a charge nurse for 2 of those 3 years. And he's on different committees, including the Huntsman Leadership Committee. In summary, in 5 years, Hussein went from an Ethiopian UN refugee camp to charge nurse at the Huntsman Cancer Center. On a personal note, Hussein's 3 brothers were released from prison 3 weeks ago. And 2 weeks from now, Hussein's going to take a 1-month vacation to see his family, who he hasn't seen since 2002. You see, perspective is realizing that someone's had a different journey and sees things from a different point of view. When I think I've had a tough day or a tough time recently, I remember others. I remember Hussein's journey, or someone in our cohort who lost their dad before beginning the program, or whose parent had a stroke during the program, or had a family member die, or had a relationship break up, or just had financial difficulties to get through this program, or had to work and support a family while studying. Hussein's a champion because he made it. You are champions because you made it. Third, I'd like to talk about giving or paying forward to others. I shared Hussein's story because I encourage you to be the nurse that you hope to follow. Hang around the best examples of people in your profession and learn from them. Look for ways to be great. If you don't know something, go find it out. Be inquisitive, take initiative, and look for things to do. Care for others. Care for the patients who are confused and concerned. Care for their families who are scared for their loved ones. Care and support the doctors who are trying to figure out the problem and the medical direction to take. Care for your fellow nurses who maybe can't get to a call light or maybe just overwhelmed and need a helping hand. Care for students who are striving to obtain what you have now reached, the title of nurse or medical assistant. Pay forward your knowledge and try to hold back judgment, even if you're tired or have justification to be frustrated. Remember patients' perspective and understand that the patients have different perspectives. Go make a difference and pay forward your good fortune, your experience, and your love for life. For the graduating nurses, as you know, a nurse pins you. Hussein Salih was supposed to work today as a charge nurse. He found another charge nurse to fill in for him. For those of you who would like him to pin you, he's here to do so if you'd like him to. Hussein, why don't you just stand up and please wave to everyone here. My message to you graduates is whether it's a feeling, a different perspective, or the care to pay forward your gifts, remember that you should be very proud. What started with an idea or just a feeling of hope, maybe it got shrouded with doubt, maybe you got overwhelmed or scared, but you won, your hard work won. You're here and you have graduated. Lastly, you should know that Ameritech College of Healthcare, your alma mater, is very proud of you. The faculty is proud of you, and I would like to take a moment again to thank the faculty of Ameritech College. I think Susie covered this, but let's do it again. Your family and friends are proud of you. I'm going to take a moment to thank my wife, Fabienne, and my daughter, Sarah, for their support. Take a moment to clap, wave, smile, say their name. You know, my wife said, don't make them cry. I said, no, honey, it's the other way around. To the graduating nurses, thank you for being with me. Thanks for being my friend, listening to my bad jokes. And thanks for being excellent at making it to the finish line. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.